Today by Deanna Lieber, the Chairman and CEO of the MTA, and my counsel, Brian Mahana. At 1:01 p.m. today, the U.S. Department of Transportation emailed us a letter from Secretary Duffy announcing their attempt to end the congestion pricing program in the state of New York. At 1:58 p.m., President Donald Trump tweeted, "Long live the king." I'm here to say New York hasn't labored under a king in over 250 years. And we sure as hell are not going to start now. The streets of this city where battles were fought, we stood up to a king, and we won then. And we will. In case you don't know, New Yorkers, when we're in a fight, we do not back down, not now, not ever. Because who are we fighting for here? We're fighting for our residents, our commuters, our riders, our drivers, our emergency personnel. Life has gotten better, even those who have asthma, people with illness. That's who we're fighting for. And the 6 million people who use the MTA to get to their jobs and their lives and their doctor appointment, nurses, doctors, EMTs, all the people who need to get to their jobs in a reliable way, they're now going to be affected. So I also have to raise a question. As I look at the pretense for this rejection, and we have a lot of legal reasons why we know we're going to be victorious, but they actually cited the will of New Jersey. New Jersey didn't want this. Ignoring the will, the people who live here, they're elected leaders in Albany, and all of a sudden, the Trump administration is citing, well, New Jersey wasn't happy, okay? I will talk about that later. But here's what I want to also say. I don't care if you love congestion pricing or hate it. This is an attack on our sovereign identity, our independence from Washington. And this is, we are a nation of states. This is what we fought for. This is what people like Alexander Hamilton and others fought for, to set up a system where we are not subservient to a king or anyone else out of Washington. So this is the fight we're in. It's all about our sovereignty. And I spoke to the president many times in a reasonable way, calm way. You're a New Yorker. You know how essential it is to have safe, reliable public transit, or else this system shuts down. Our economy shuts down. The nation's economy could shut down. That's how essential we are. And one would think he would know that. And then you have others involved. I mean, it feels like the commuters of our city and our region are now the roadkill on Donald Trump's revenge tour against New York. And I have to say this to Secretary of Transportation Sean Duffy. It's not the real world, Sean. It's real life for New Yorkers, and don't you forget that. So, we're in fight mode. Within seconds of us getting this notification, our MTA was prepared. We knew this could come. Filed a lawsuit within minutes. I'm very confident we'll be successful. And I also want to say, the cameras are staying on. We are keeping the cameras on. Lights, cameras, action. They're staying on. Last thing I'll say, if in some world that they are successful, the next time you're stuck in traffic, the next time your train is delayed, the next time you're in a flooded station because infrastructure repairs were not made, I want you to think of this. Think about this. Next time you're stuck in traffic, Okay? We know where the blame goes. Okay? We have my top 10 reasons why congestion pricing is working. But as someone who's worked so hard, I want to let Jana Lieber tell you why we believe this program is working and why it's essential. Then we haven't taken any questions, and my counsel can explain our legal strategy as well. Thank you very much.
Wow. Thank you, Governor Hochul. Thank you for your leadership on this issue. Simple situation. New York ain't going back. We tried gridlock for 60 years. It didn't work. It cost our economy billions. But you know what's helping our economy? What's making New York a better place? Congestion pricing. So as the governor said, let me just take you through what's happened in the month and a half since tolling began. Traffic was down 9% in January. 1.2 million fewer vehicles entered the central business district, and that meant bus speeds and all speeds went way up, particularly express buses, people coming from areas where a lot of people drive. The cross streets, which are the death zone for drivers in Manhattan, anybody knows that. Canal Street, 34th Street, 57th Street, speeds are up, up, up. The streets are safer, half as many crashes, and that means pedestrians are not getting injured and killed. But this is a governor who talks to me about the economy. There are fewer cars, but there are more people coming to the central business district. That's what you want. That's what you want. And the central business district areas have had a surge in pedestrian traffic, office workers, tourists, shoppers, that far outpaces the rest of the city and the rest of Manhattan. And small thing, we heard a lot of people, oh, no one's going to come here for dinner. Restaurant reservations up 7% since congestion pricing, far outpacing the other cities on the East Coast. Broadway is humming. Gross is up 25%. Audience attendance up 20%. Yellow cabs were concerned. They've had a hard time before COVID and during COVID. Their trips and their tips are up 10%. Their yellow cab drivers are seeing a lot more money. And a small fact that might, I don't know, interest President Trump, commercial office leasing in the month of January of 2025 compared to 2024, up 61%. Is that a vote of confidence? People want to be in New York. People want to come to New York, and they're signing leases. New Yorkers are seeing the difference. As the governor alluded to, there was one poll, major poll done, and it found that 6 out of 10 voters say President Trump should allow us to keep congestion pricing. And interestingly, 7 out of 10 drivers, the people who regularly drive to Manhattan, are saying, this is good, this is a good deal. And they are saying, keep congestion pricing. So it's mystifying that after 4 years of environmental study, a 4,000-page environmental review, that the US DOT would seek to reverse course. So we're doing, I just want to reinforce what the governor said. We're doing exactly what the federal government asked of New York and everybody. We are doing a thoughtful local solution. I thought the Republican Party was in favor of local control. I thought the Republican Party was in favor of local control. And so, as you said, Real World New York, a new episode, tells you at our density, 9 times Phoenix or Houston, one of those Sunbelt cities, we don't have enough room to have everybody come to our streets in a car. We just don't have enough room. So, as the governor said, within moments of receiving that letter, we responded with a lawsuit which says, number 1, we're seeking a declaratory judgment that this is not proper, and number 2, we're not turning off the tolls until this report.
I see I've been joined by a number of elected officials who've been real champions on this. Senator Brad Hoylman, we have our council member, who's here? Gail Brewer is here. Keith Powers is here. Anybody else? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for standing with this. I have my counsel here, Brian Mahana. If anybody has any questions about our legal strategy, would you like to address that or just wait this? Okay. Okay. All right, we're fired up, ready to go. What do you got?
We'll take a couple of questions. Allie Bauman back there in the blue, CBS 2. Allie.
Governor Hochul, I wonder if you think that it's a coincidence this letter came on the same day that Mayor Adams was in court over the DOJ trying to remove the case against him, or if you think the Trump administration is trying to send a message in sending this letter today.
I have no clue.
All right, there's Bernadette Hogan right down in front row, New York 1. See if we can get a mic. Where's Ray? Got a microphone for you.
Okay. Governor, you canceled a meeting with Donald Trump last week. Do you regret doing that, where you could have maybe struck a deal with him? And would you still be willing to strike a deal with him now if he agrees to give the $13 billion or whatever it would be if congestion pricing is turned off?
Bernadette, there is no connection between me saying to him last week, the day he invited me to come down to have this conversation, which I have been pursuing, and then 3 hours later, I see on national television that his Attorney General, Pam Bondi, is now saying she's filing charges against me as governor of New York. I called up the president and said, I'm not coming down tomorrow. I don't know what your plan is. You're going to slap handcuffs on my goddamn hands? So I'm not coming down, but I will be back later in the week, which would be this week, when our national governors gather. And he said, that's fine. We'll get together and we'll talk. That's why I know it has no bearing, despite the premise behind the question.
All right, hey, no, we got to move on. We got to move on, Bernadette. Mara Gay here from the New York Times.
I'm not
Mara.
going to stand here and make deals. There's one person who wants to talk to me. I'll see him in Washington.
Governor, have you spoken to the president today since that letter came? Do you believe he's trying to, do you believe he's trying to hurt New York City? And who is really in charge of New York City's government right now?
Mayor Adams is the elected mayor of New York City. I'm the governor of New York. New York City is a subdivision of the state of New York. I also have responsibilities to make sure the services are provided to 8.3 million people that I also represent. I'm not concerned about that. There is a path forward to make sure we stabilize this city and its government. That is unrelated to this. I'm happy to talk to the president at any time, and that's I'll leave it at. What was it?
Sorry, do you believe that the president of the United States is trying to hurt New York City and its economy?
I said that I think our commuters are the roadkill on his revenge tour. Yes, I do.
All right, Ramsey Khalifa back there. Ramsey from Gothamist WNYC. Ramsey.
Governor, are you concerned that this is just the start of more punitive cuts down the road from the president? I mean, what have those conversations been like? Has he mentioned, for example, Penn Station and the future of that facility and that infrastructure?
I'm the one who raised those issues to him. I spoke to him as a fellow New Yorker, as someone who knows this city better than any president since FDR. I talked to him about my vision, which could be a shared vision, to make major infrastructure investments here in this great city, looking at a place like Penn Station to make it be a gorgeous, spectacular place, expanding the 2nd Avenue subway up to Harlem so people can get good-paying jobs without spending half the day commuting down to Wall Street. I talked about the Interborough Express, why people from Queens and Brooklyn have to come into the city to go to their jobs or their home. I've shared with him a vision. I actually put together a beautiful PowerPoint. Got a lot of nice pictures. I plan on handing that to him when I see him this week. So I still believe there's an opportunity, because I never say never. I'm not going to presume that he's going to try to continue to undermine our integrity as a New York State, especially when they see we're not going to bow to the king. Never have, never will. So that's the message I want to deliver.
All right, Jenny Kane back there from the Associated Press. Jenny, AP.
Oh, thank you. Well, since we have been talking about Mayor Adams, can you
No,
share
we're
with
not.
us your
Next
latest?
question.
No, we're gonna move on to Evan Simcoe Bednarski from the New York Daily News.
Governor, the president has characterized the conversations that you had leading up to this as discussions, negotiations. Given what happened today, was he negotiating, was he discussing in good faith? Can you talk about what, if anything, he offered?
No, I cannot. I'm not
right.
going to divulge private conversations other than I know my objective. My objective is to secure the most federal dollars I can, because I have to make people in Washington understand if this city is crippled because we do not make the investments, make sure the Long Island Railroad is functioning at high level, Metro North is functioning, our entire subway system, they all have to be running in a reliable, safe way, or we shut down. And the ripple effect, not just across New York, but across the nation, is powerful. At a time when our economy is under siege from Washington, we live in a state where people are terrified of tariffs. Terrified of tariffs, whether you're a farmer in upstate New York or someone who's trying to buy steel to build one of the largest manufacturing facilities in American history. I've got a lot of challenges, but I am always one who's willing to sit at the table, say, what do you need, what do I need, and how do we get it done? I'm not ever closing the door on that.
Rebecca Lewis right there, City and State in front.
Hi, Governor. You use some pretty fiery language, perhaps the strongest that I've heard you use since Trump became president. You called this an attack on New York's sovereignty. Is this marking a new era of your approach to the Trump administration, or should we expect to see more resistance from you to things that he's doing, or are you still going to continue your strategy of trying to find middle ground and, you know, maybe not poking the bear?
I think the bear's been poked. But I'm saying this. I want you to know this. I have said on national shows, I've been asked countless, are you leading the resistance? No, I'm governing the great state of New York. I will continue taking on the issues when they have an effect on New Yorkers. I don't need to be playing whack-a-mole every time something crazy comes out of Washington. You need to see me doing a press conference or tweeting about it. That's not how I have effective leadership. I need to pick my fights. And as someone who's watched, well, I watched a lot of First Blood, okay? You probably don't know what it is. Everybody watch First Blood? Someone draws First Blood, you respond. I didn't draw First Blood, okay? There's a response that's required when someone comes after you. Someone just came after my state, and now I have to step up on this issue. If there's another area we can have collaboration, cooperation, serve our mutual constituents, because he does represent New York at the federal level, I'm up for that. I'm willing to sit down and work hard to do that. So I'm not trying to put myself in cast a different lens about me. I'm just saying you went too far because you came after New Yorkers. You came after New Yorkers.
All right, time for a couple more. Back in the mezzanine, Ida Siegel from NBC4.
Hi,
Ida.
Governor. You said that the cameras are staying on. Does that mean until a federal judge tells you to turn them off? And what happens in court? How long are we going to have this battle in court? Do you predict, you know, realistically, what are the next steps for New Yorkers who drive in, who take the subway, all of those things?
I'm going to let my counsel give you some insight into the legal process. Brian Mahana.
So the MTA has filed its action, as the governor said, right after we received a letter from federal DOT, and we're seeking a declaratory judgment, making clear that the congestion pricing program is fully authorized. Obviously, that will take some time, but until a judge rules, these cameras are staying on, and we expect the judge to rule in our favor.
All right, we got time for one more. Gwen Hogan right down here from the city. Gwen, we're getting you a microphone. It's right behind you.
Thank you. Does the MTA have a contingency plan if the president is able to turn off congestion pricing? And what would it take for you to determine that Mayor Eric Adams was no longer able to govern New York City?
I'm ignoring the second part of the question because I said that's another day. But
No, we have no contingency plan. And as Brian Mahana just said, we're highly confident that this program is going to stand up in court. Remember, we've been sued in every court east of the Mississippi, and we won every time. This is going to be another one.
All right, thanks, everybody. Thank you so much.
I just want to say one more thing. You talk about other states. Again, in case you didn't pick this up, the weak legal theory that they have come back with us, and we know we can defeat, also is predicated on what New Jersey wants. Think about that. I'm so happy people from New Jersey come here. About 80% come by public transit, right, Jano? About 80%, they already take public. I want to make sure that there's a world-class program for our New Jersey guests and commuters. But in what world should we be standing down the will of another state, right? I mean, that just doesn't happen. I mean, I personally would like to have all the New York teams playing in New York, okay? Okay? I'm not proposing that the federal government go annex the Meadowlands, but so there's a certain respect you have that you need to have for the boundaries of our states. So New Jersey residents, come, you're welcome, but you're not forced to come here. This is the flaw in their argument. They have choices. Keep coming, we love you. That's great. But the people who live here, who are real New Yorkers, they're the ones who I have to listen to and I will always fight for. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you very much.